How are you doing, by the way? I hope you're having a good day. I hate this. I absolutely hate the following. There is nothing I hate more than the following. I'm joking around, but this is something that is a lie. This is something that is not true, okay? It's not true even by 1%. And it is that Brandon Sanderson and his characters are bad, okay? I have seen Reddit threads, I have seen forum discussions, I have seen entire review bulletins in Goodreads. I have seen entire comment sections in YouTube, in Twitter, in TikTok, everywhere you go, discussing how bad Brandon Sanderson's characters are. And I really disagree with that. Because you see, back when I started reading Brandon Sanderson, I was in the same class as everyone else. Basically, the guy only really writes one type of character arc, and he's really just okay at that. And he does do it very well, but essentially a lot of people do it very well. And it's not that good, which is the flat character arc. But over the years, as I kept reading more, after Elantris, as I read Mistborn, and then I moved to the Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, basically the Stormlight Archive, and then some of Skyward novels, and some other novellas as well. And by the way, there's new books coming out, so hopefully I'll read those. The guy has shown me over and over and over that he's not a one-trick pony, okay? Brandon Sanderson is not a one-trick pony. He's actually more than that. He's a very good character writer. He's above average, at least above average. And the fact that he's a bad character writer used to be true. It no longer is true, okay? But to actually discuss why I think Brandon Sanderson's characters are not bad, I'm going to actually go ahead and share with you a question, okay? The question is, what actually makes a good character? What in the world makes a good character writer? Okay, this is a very good question because we actually have to establish the technical framework to talk about what makes good characters and what makes a good character writer. And so at its heart, there are in total 4 possible types of character arcs that you could engage in. In the entirety of fiction, there's just 4 types of character arcs. Yeah, I can take every story and reduce it to 4 types of character arcs when it comes to the characters. I would know that because I'm a character nerd. There is nothing I love more than characters. And I know, essentially by word, I'm still learning, I'm still developing as a writer, but by words, by communication, I can know what a good writer and good character writer is. And I can communicate that. So let's communicate that. There is the flat character archetype, which is the prophet archetype. So for example, if you're a Christian, imagine Jesus Christ, he knows the truth, and then everyone else in the world believes the lie, right? If you're a Muslim, you can imagine like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he knows the truth, everyone else believes in the lie, and the prophet has to teach the truth to everyone else. So for example, imagine a peasant, and then a king. The king believes in the lie, so the king is wrong. The world around this peasant believes in the lie. The peasant believes in the truth. So the conflict in the story comes from how if the peasant gets up and goes to the king and tells him, "My king, you are wrong, you suck," there is going to be conflict because the peasant can't tell the king that the king is wrong. Okay, if the king believes in the lie, the peasant is supposed to play along and stick with the king. And so this is a conflict. It's called the prophet archetype for that reason, because all prophets throughout history came in a time where they were nothing, they were nobody, they were poor, they had nothing. God gives them the truth, and then they have to teach that truth to the world around them, which believes in the lie. It's also called the test arc, because this will test the character and the conviction they have on the truth. And that's what a flat character arc is. Flat also in the technical modern term, because the character doesn't change. Negative character arc, however, which is the next type of character arc, happens when the flat character arc, the character does not hold on. They fail to hold on to the truth. And so they fall down Mount Olympus and they become the villain because they adopt the lie. So the peasant joins the king. and he's like, man, screw this, I don't want to be poor anymore. I like the king. I'm gonna, you know, and then I'm gonna get a lot of money from the king, okay? So that's the negative character arc. It's basically the failure of the flat character arc. The positive character arc is when the character that believes in the lie, so the peasant that now joins the king, realizes the error in his way, and so he starts fighting against the king. The journey to realize that joining the king was a mistake is called the positive character arc. And so you have these three internal character arcs. And then there is one final type of character arc, which is the external character development, where the character learns how to swing the sword, or how to use a spear, or how to basically, you know, throw an arrow, or use a magic system. I don't know, like in Avatar, where the avatar, you know, Aang has to learn how to use, how to bend all the different types of, you know, elements. So that's an external character development where the character learns a particular skill. So let's talk about Brandon Sanderson and his output in the early years, okay? Brandon Sanderson, when he started writing, he used to only write one type of character arc, okay? And this was, for the most part, the flat character archetype. In Elantris, there was Raoden and there was Serene. Raoden was a prince, he used to have everything, and by the way, he's a good guy. He suddenly gets this disease, and he becomes an Elantrian, and he's thrown into the city of Elantris. He's dead, and he's dying, but he will never die. So this disease, basically, it's eternal torture. And in this particular world, Raoden goes through two character arcs. The first character arc is the external development. He has to learn the magic of the Aeon magic system, where he has to become more and more powerful in that particular magic system. But number two, he is the prophet, because he's the good guy in a corrupt city. So the world around him, the city of Elantris, everyone believes in the lie, and then he believes in the truth. And he's trying to do better, and he's trying to do good things. So there's going to be a lot of conflict and opposition. So Brandon Sanderson early on was very good at writing one thing, which is the flat character archetype, and he stuck to it. This was his biggest, I would say, mistake when it comes to his face, okay? Because a lot of people early on got the impression that Brandon Sanderson is just very good at writing external development and flat character arcs when it comes to characters. So he's very good at magic systems, world building, plot, but you know, his characters is just, you know, meh, decent, they don't change, there's nothing else. Serene, number two, goes through similar things where she has a test arc, where her character is tested, because she's put into a world where she believes in the truth and everyone else around her believes in the lie. So fundamentally, and there are a lot of lies with Serene, unlike Raoden. There's just one lie, you know, do good, don't do good. Yeah. With Serene, it's different. These nobles believes in all sorts of lies, and she has to kick it out of them, okay? I do like Serene a lot more than Raoden. She's much more entertaining. Raoden in Elantris is an exception. He has a positive character arc, okay? He goes from a religious zealot to not as much of a zealot, I suppose. So fundamentally, Raoden in Elantris is much better written, and he's much harder to write. But that's one character that gets a minority of the time. Most of the time is dedicated to just Serene and Raoden. And the people got the impression early on that Sanderson was just very good at writing flat arcs, test arcs, or prophet arcs, whatever you want to call it, and basically external development, where the character learns about the magic system, about the world, and so on and so forth. However, in Elantris, in Mistborn, Brandon Sanderson really improved a lot. And his character writing, while heavily dominated by flat character arcs, we had Vin, who has a minor positive arc, and she's the protagonist, right? As his career progressed, especially when he reached the Way of Kings, I think that was like the peak for Brandon Sanderson. You had a character like Kaladin. Kaladin is what's called a composite character, okay? He basically has multiple character arcs in one book. He has a test arc early on, where it ends when the Silverine basically gives him back that rose, that poisonous plant, and his hope is restored. Then there is a test arc in the story. The test arc is actually Dalinar, and showing Dalinar that the Dark Eyes or yeah, are not less of a human, okay? Number 3, the third character arc is positive character arc, where Kaladin has to adopt the pure morals of the heralds, basically in the immortal words, or the words that he has to speak. And these are the ideals, okay? And so these ideals of the Knights Radiant are things that give him power. So speaking the ideals is 2 things. It's basically a positive character arc, but also it's external development. Because external development in this case, by speaking the words, he becomes more powerful in the magic system of the Knights Radiant. So you have a character that has a positive arc, an external development, and a test arc. And he has 3 of them. Composite character. This is far more complicated than Raoden. Raoden was just a very simple character that had at best two character arcs, but the other one, external development, is very basic. So most people don't count that. So fundamentally speaking, in the Way of Kings, further, you also have in Oathbringer, you know, you get to see the positive character arc of Dalinar, okay? So at the end of the day, Brandon Sanderson in Stormlight Archive was basically pulling off very good work in character writing. By the way, I forgot Mawash. I love tragedies, okay? I love tragedies. I love tragedies. I love tragedies. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love reading about tragedies, and I love negative character arcs. You know why? Negative character arcs are the most difficult aspect of storytelling. They're the most difficult to write because you have to get them right. It's just a much better balance, much harder balance than positive arcs. Mawash is Sanderson's most difficult character to write, number 1. Number 2, one of his best executed characters. Number 3, his best expression of the negative character arc. Number 4, one of the best expressions of the negative character arc that was written in the last 15 years or so. So Brandon Sanderson is very good at writing negative arcs. He just doesn't like writing tragedies as much as other authors like to do. He likes writing positive arcs, as you can see with Kaladin. Guy has a positive arc in every book in the Stormlight Archive. So fundamentally, he's very good with positive arcs, he's very good with test arcs, and he's very good with external development. In fact, out of all the living fantasy authors today, no one writes external development as good as Brandon Sanderson. To find better competition, you have to go and look at East Asia, you know, from the anime, look at shonen anime, which is where the best, you know, test external development in the world exists. Some movies also do compete, like The Gladiator. I think that's very good test arc as well as external development. But moving on, the MCU also is a very good competition for him. But at the end of the day, in the fantasy genre, in books today, there is really no one better. So, in conclusion, there are 4 possible types of character arcs. Brandon Sanderson is really only not that prominent in one of them. He's prominent in every other type of character arc. If you ask me, that's 3/4. That, sir, is 75% of types of different character arcs. He's 75% good. He's 75% good. And by the way, he's not awful with negative arcs. We know Mawash is a clean negative arc with a potential for positive arc. So I am against the concept that Brandon Sanderson as a whole is bad with characters. However, I do support the idea, and I do believe, and I know I have the evidence to support this one, that he was below average when he started out. But all people start at some point. The guy was very good with world building and magic systems on plot from the get-go. He wasn't a bad author. He never started bad. The guy was you know, breaking numbers from the beginning, and he's still breaking numbers, as you can see. Okay, so Brandon Sanderson is a legend, and he's the best current living fantasy author. Forget about George R. R. Martin. Forget about, you know, Patrick Rothfuss, Jim Butcher, all those legends. This guy is the best among them. He's the best of the best, and I wish him best of luck. And I hope that you enjoyed this long rant. I think it's nonsense that people call Brandon Sanderson a bad character writer. He's not. Georgie, what do you think was it? I'm saying it honestly from the top of my heart. Brandon Sanderson, God bless the guy. I hope you did enjoy this video. Bye. And tell me what you think down in the comments below. of his characters.